Yeah, that.
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and slave us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule because you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, because I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring. And George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil. Chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk and doubt it, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
Look, Jesus had left the building.
Suck our brain like a leech, you break the law and you preach. Screw our brains till it hurts, wanna take all our money and so much more. Misguided old mule with your Islamic rules, with your narrow-minded cronies, the leader of all the useful fools. You're just a spoiled boy who just found a new toy, all free in New York City. It's like you're hiding all your peace.
Why is everyone leaving?
But now you can kiss our ass goodbye.
Don't worry, you're gonna love the sun.
Here we come with all our money, let's go honey. Talk like a big business tycoon. You're just a hot air balloon, death on two legs. It's not Uganda, man. You got a tongue with disease. You're the king of the sleaze. Put the truth where your mouth is, Mr. Genocide. Big talking, fake smile. You never had a job. Now you wanna run the biggest city. Get the fuck out of New York. Mr. Pretty. Let's go, honey.
Hi, I'm Johnkrantzian. I posted that video. I'm building up a following, and you can't stop me.
Johnkrantzian.
Hey, what's good, my people? You're watching the MC Tutol Show with your hardcore, fierce, and sexy host that is never gross, MC Tutol, with my team logo here to a football team that I don't root for. Man, I just have it there to piss off the politically inept. But anyway, I'm MC Tutol. My real name, or government name, as they like to call it. See, when you say government name, you got to twist your mouth around. Government name. You got to say it like that. And so, anyway, my government name is John A. Krantz. I'm a conservative white man over 50 living in Brooklyn, New York. And I have cats. And cats are very nice. So, a couple of things, or quite a few things actually. As you know, as I had mentioned yesterday, Dick Cheney died. Dick Cheney was the vice president under George W. Bush. He was a CEO of a company called Halliburton. And Halliburton made lots of money in the Iraq War. Now, of course, technically, you can't be a CEO of a company and vice president or president or anything like that at the same time. So technically, he was not the CEO of Halliburton. but the company made money during the Iraq War, made lots of money. They lined their pockets very well. And Dick Cheney was one of those Republicans that I don't respect. There are Republicans that I don't respect. Dick Cheney was one of them. The Bush family, all of them, those are quite a few others. From George H.W. to George W. to Jeb. So, people like that. Mitt Romney, another one. John McCain. Definitely lost respect for him in 2004 when he could have ran against W and chose to be a cheerleader for W instead. No good. And then he had the goal to run in 2008, so, that created a lot of black stains on people's voting records. I said black stain when there's a black person involved. You know the expression, and I'm not going to lift it off when there's a black person involved to bend over backwards to prove I'm not a racist. If you have to bend over backwards to prove you're not a racist, you're probably a racist. And so I'm not going to do that. I have cats, by the way, and they're very nice. And they're sitting right here next to me. You want to see my cats? You see? There's my cats. And I do my broadcasts in my pajama pants. And it's very nice because, it just shows the realness, the full realness of MC Too Tall. And just to let you know, as I fix my blinds in the background here, I keeps it real in my Dolce & Gabbana frames. See, this shows that I relate to the poor people in the inner cities throughout America. I keep it real in my Dolce & Gabbana frames. And there you go. And a real dude that ran for mayor had a fighting chance. He put up a good fight. He campaigned hard. And it wasn't him that fell short. It was you, the voter, that fell short. You people who claim you like Sliwa more than Cuomo both voted for Cuomo instead. Whoever votes for somebody they don't like against somebody they like because there's a third party running for an office that they like even less is cowardice and spineless. And this is the age of the coward. This has become the age of the coward. People that demanded that Sliwa drop out. People that demanded that Sliwa drop out and are mad at Sliwa and his voters because Sliwa did not drop out and people who believed in Sliwa voted for Sliwa. What would Cuomo have done for the city anyway? The city would still suck. The city sucks right now. And it would have still sucked under Andrew Cuomo. So because people have some notion that the city's going to suck more under Mamdani, they vote for sucky versus suck more. I'd rather roll the dice with Mamdani than watch what we know to be failure play itself out again only concentrated in one city that I happen to live in. We already saw what Cuomo did as governor. He was a god-awful governor. And I'll say this. Donald Trump handled COVID better than Andrew Cuomo. All the Republican mayors and governors handled COVID better than any Democrat mayor or governor nationwide. Okay? Greg Abbott ran Texas better than Gretchen Whitmer ran Michigan. Kristi Noem ran South Dakota better than Tom Wolf or Phil Murphy of Pennsylvania and New Jersey, respectively. Ron DeSantis ran Florida better than Andrew Cuomo ran New York. What do you say, Dante? Yeah, that's Dante. He's got the Dia de los Muertos face on. And, yeah, he looks like a spooky voodoo priest. But, yeah, he's cool, though. He meows, you know. Sometimes I gotta chase him back to his litter box, because, you know, he kind of like wants to miss it by a whole room and catch a wall in a whole nother room. But, you know, I gotta catch him and chase him back to his litter box. But other than that, he's pretty cool. But anyway, enough about Dante. Let's talk about other things in the news. Okay? 24 years ago today. Okay, we're in November 5th, right? Well, first, yeah, let's go back 24 years ago today. November 5th, 2001. Remember November 5th, 2001? You know what happened in the town of Eager, Arizona on that date? That was the day when former Naval Intelligence Officer, radio talk show host, and author of the book Behold the Pale Horse, Milton William Cooper, became a martyr. He became a martyr for the cause of the investigative community, for the community that is opposed to the New World Order and the Illuminati, or what I sometimes call the conglomerate. Because when people hear Illuminati, they want to get technical and think and act like you're talking about the Bavarian group found by Adam Weishaupt specifically, that's been disbanded, that was very short-lived, is disbanded hundreds of years ago. It didn't even outlive Adam Weishaupt, and its name has been recycled as a loose term for all secret societies combined. So when you hear people talk about the Illuminati doing this and doing that in this day and age, they're not specifically talking about Adam Weishaupt's little Bavarian group from 1776. They're talking about what I think is a more accurate term, the conglomerate of secret societies. And those of us opposed to said conglomerate, anybody who's true to it, their top guy, their guy at the top of the mountain, their go-to guy for information on what these cold-blooded bastards of the conglomerate are doing is the past works of William Cooper, and we have just that to go on since he died on this day, November 5th, 2001. And what happened was he wrote Behold a Pale Horse, and he would go from town to town giving lectures. A lot of times he was doing it all out of his own pocket, and then he started asking to be paid for these lectures, which is something that he should have done from jump, but you live, you learn. You go into it thinking that more people would be interested in it, but a lot of people want to sabotage you because either A, they like things how they are, they have a little bit of Stockholm syndrome, so to speak, so they love living with their rapist and being rape apologists. And by that, I mean figuratively. I mean screwing you over financially, and in some cases, literally committing the act of sexual assault. But most part, digging their hands in your pocket, killing you off by putting all kinds of junk in your food, and making you sick so Pharma could get rich. All while causing wars overseas that'll bring people from the West to these overseas nations to be killed off, further supporting their goal of population reduction. These are the people that make disease in labs for the purpose of reducing the population to a manageable level to enable a much easier transition into slavery, worldwide slavery. This is an us versus them situation. And every day I think about that. And it's not really a political discussion, it is a life discussion. And when I talk about what God instructs me to do and how God walks me through certain situations mentally, that is not religious discussion. Just because I mention God, that's not religious discussion. That is life discussion. Because every normal life should have God in it. And not these weird deities or folklore characters that you put at the top of your mindset as if it's a deity, but God himself, the real God, the one that man did not create, that God. So now, William Cooper, as I mentioned, he wrote the book Behold a Pale Horse, and there are things in that book that did not unfold and come into fruition until recent years. And what he says in that book about AIDS was pretty much a blueprint to SARS-2, which would later be named COVID-19. Another disease that was created in a lab, and some say it accidentally escaped the lab. Some say it was deliberately released from the lab, which is kind of messed up, that you're going to reduce world population by this many thousands of people, and then have really no remorse in your heart that you are actually responsible for killing otherwise healthy people and people who had life expectancies much longer and beyond their actual death dates. Imagine creating something in a lab that you knew would kill this many people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, this many people in their 50s, this many people in their 40s, 30s, and 20s. You knew this would actually kill them, cut their lives short within less than a week's time, when they are expected to live another 30 years, and you took 30 years off. How imagine being that person. How would you have that on your conscience if you were that person, Anthony Fauci? And you want to talk about black stains? There are very few black stains on the actual real records, real world, real time records of Donald Trump's first term and the Reagan presidency. I'm going to explain that to you. They both had the same black stain on their record. They trusted Dr. Fauci. Because who was in charge of the AIDS research? Dr. Anthony Fauci. That quack, that bean shooter. And he's got a pardon that covers the time frame from which COVID emerged up until present time, or at least until January 20th of this year that just passed. So, going back, I don't know, 10 years when the research first started, or 5 years when the research first started. Actually, 10 years when the research first started, up until this past January 20th. Okay, you can't get him for what he did there. But if you scratch and dig for what he might have done during the AIDS epidemic, is there really a statute of limitations there on bioterrorism? Is there a statute of limitations on bioterrorism, which is a crime against humanity? AIDS wasn't natural, neither was COVID. These were tools of bioterrorism, and you know that. You know that. The same stuff that's involved with the chemicals that Alex Jones linked with Hillary Clinton that cost him his job because he decided to go off, and didn't cost him his job, it cost him his platform on a lot of different social media sites because he decided to go off, slam a roll-up paper on his desk and rant about the frogs turning gay. And yeah, there are frogs that could actually literally change their sex. There are some frogs that can't really call them hermaphroditic, because I think a hermaphrodite is somebody with both sex organs active at all times. But there are not all species of frogs, but a lot of the smaller species of frogs are, are able to cross-sex. And there are certain seasons when they do that, where a frog that will fertilize one year and then the following year be the fertilized frog. And there's a certain cycle of time in which this happens. And when you throw chemicals in the water that screw up the chemical balance of the frogs, it expedites this. And it does kind of mess around with nature. But, it doesn't turn them gay. It expedites their transition. And I'm sure there are some people suffering from gender dysphoria that are jealous of those frogs right about now. I mean, I don't mean to sound cold, but, it is what it is. So the one thing that he was kind of right about is the thing that got him canceled. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You just a bad choice of words, because of how I explained it to you already, why, we're gay didn't fit in there. But, you get what he was trying to say. And honestly, because of how he puts his information out there, I kind of see Alex Jones as disingenuous, and I don't really trust him. And he and William Cooper had a falling out long ago, as far back as the year 2000. And to this very day, Alex Jones talks shit about William Cooper, and it is wrong. It is just wrong. And so, Alex Jones, you are a bull-faced, miserable, stinking little coward liar. Now, I have spoken about Nick Fuentes, and I said, leave that young man alone, let him cook. Now, he says things that I don't have full agreement with him about, but I never thought of it as anything to denounce or condemn him about. I think everybody should have a platform, even if they're saying things that I don't agree with or don't like. But I can use my First Amendment rights to say, I don't agree with this and I don't like that. What the hell is he doing in 2022, side by side with Destiny, boasting of how cool Destiny is, of what a beast and what a savage he is, because of something that Destiny is most known for? Flirting with minors, trying to exchange nude pictures and videos with minors, and being an overall molester and creep that glorifies child molestation and pedophilia. Destiny glorifies pedophilia. And glorifying pedophilia is worse than saying Hitler was cool, which is something Nick Fuentes also said. He said Hitler was a pedophile, but he was cool. Maybe he's talking about to have that whole command and having armies in lockstep over you, having that type of influence and power. And it depends on what you do with that power. Having that power, period, isn't cool. It's nuanced, it's subjective, and it depends on what you do with that power. With great power comes great responsibility. This is why Venom can never be cooler than Spider-Man. And this is why even after a face turn, Venom is still cooler than Carnage. I figured if I'm going to use the term that came from nowhere else but Spider-Man initially, I might as well make other Spider-Man references. And so, with great power comes great responsibility. And when Spider-Man allowed himself to be in the symbiote suit took over and took away Spider-Man's responsibility and was being more and more vicious and vengeful, and causing Peter Parker inside that symbiote suit to have a more vicious and vengeful attitude. And so that's why I say, with great power comes great responsibility. If you're able to command huge armies, that alone isn't cool. If you use that to preserve the American way and a way of life that makes life comfortable for me, then that's cool. If you use it to scapegoat innocent people within your own country and march them to undeserved deaths, that's not cool. And this isn't about being for everything that Israel is doing, and this isn't about putting Israel ahead of America. This is about dictatorships picking on innocent people that didn't deserve to be picked on. So, if you're a dictator, you're not cool. You're an asshole that picks on innocent people. Stalin isn't cool. Lenin wasn't cool. Lenin, they say, was even worse than Stalin. Lenin used to torture his own siblings. Lenin's own siblings denounced him. Lenin had people working for his siblings thrown in the freaking gulags. So, being a dictator with command over powerful armies isn't cool because of what you're going to be doing with those powerful armies. So I ask again, what the hell is Nick Fuentes doing being civil with that fucking animal Destiny? You know what they say about the broken clock? It's right twice a day. It's right at least twice a day. So, if 2 times in a single day Hassan Piker calls destiny molestiny, he is proverbially that broken clock. Hassan Piker has every right to call destiny molestiny. Doesn't mean I have to like Hassan Piker. Did I say Parker? I'm sorry. Hassan Piker. Doesn't mean I have to like him, but I have agreement with him having the right to call destiny molestiny. While we're on the subject, I make great music. Have you seen my music playlist? You gotta listen to everything in my music playlist. Hell, I'll even encourage you to listen to some of the stuff I did with Scarlet Venom and Italian Ice, who I'd rather be dead than speak to ever again. These 2 people. And the only time I will speak to these 2 people is if they end up fucking. As it has become a known thing. Whether they've slept together in the past or not is unknown. There are people who have suspicions of that. But I will say this. Italian Ice has the hots for Scarlet Venom, my ex-wife. And, I didn't suddenly get bad taste. The person who was once attractive became unattractive later on in life. So, there's the one thing Italian Ice and I have in common. We both find the same type of women to be sexy. Difference between me and him is I could actually land those sexy women, and a lot more of them than he can. But I choose not to in these days because I have this YouTube channel and I have an obligation to God, to alert the people about the conglomerate of secret societies. I have an obligation to God to warn people about the conglomerate of secret societies. That's why I put my music on hold. Which, by the way, my lyrical talents are very good lyrical talents, and they are a gift from God. But God chose for me to go this route through these YouTube videos. First, he had me go through the music. And there is messages about warning you of the conglomerate of secret societies, also known as the Illuminati, in all my songs. In my songs, there's warnings about the Illuminati and what will happen to you if you give them too much power. And when people started mocking the music, overlooking the message, and continuing to mock the music, and try to embarrass me, by trying to make a mockery of things I put out on purpose for promotional reasons, that's when I had to switch my message and be more direct and do these YouTube videos. And that's why I do these YouTube videos, guys. That's why I do these YouTube video, guys. I do it for the fans. I do it as an obligation to God above. And it's to get rid of, literally wipe off the face of the earth, narcissistic son of a bitches that beat women and are cruel to animals. There's narcissistic sons of bitches out there that beat women and are cruel to animals. They also pick on children and the elderly. Like nothing cool could come of these people. And these are the most used troops of the Illuminati. You got to watch out for them. So, I'm glad I'm building up a following, because it means I'm successful at doing God's work. And so, on to the I say, respect God, watch out for the Illuminati, like, follow, share, comment, subscribe, stay strong, keep kicking that slang. It's your boy in the building, hip-hop legend, recording engineer, underground rock and roll hero, MC Too Tall. Be safe out there in these troubled times.